Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm back bringing you another fragrance review. I know it has been quite some time and I'm sorry that it's been forever and a year since I've put a new video up, but life just happens, you get busy and you keep saying you're gonna do it and you're gonna do it and then it just doesn't happen. But for whatever reason, I felt very compelled to bring you guys a video tonight. I think really just because I needed a distraction and really just something to take my mind off of current events. And I will explain here in just a moment as to why I'm sitting on top of a nightstand and not in a chair, but I just miss doing these videos. And there's so many great fragrances that have been launched recently that I just haven't really had a chance to talk about and wanted to put something up. So hopefully you guys will learn something from this video, something that's interesting, something that will inspire you to go out and maybe discover a new perfume. So the reason why I'm sitting on a nightstand and not in a chair is because I'm actually moving this week. So literally all of the chairs are gone in the living space. So I don't have a chair and I was like, you know what, whatever. I'm not gonna let that get in the way of me putting up a new video. I'm just gonna sit on my nightstand. So here we are, me and my nightstand. Anyways, let's jump right into the fragrance, and the fragrance we're going to be discussing today is Violet Shot. And Violet Shot is from the Olfactive Studio collection. Getting a little closer there so you guys can see the bottle. And it's under a sub-collection within the line called the Sepia collection. And just to give you a little bit of background information on Olfactive Studio, they are a fragrance house that is very much inspired by contemporary artistic photography and how that correlates to our senses, and those senses being specifically sight and smell. So it's very much an immersion of these two concepts, and it was a brand that was actually started by a woman named Celine Verroul, and I think it's Verlet, I don't know, but I'm probably saying the name wrong, so please forgive me, it is not intentional. I think she's French, and basically she started, I don't know, her background is very intriguing to be honest, because when I was reading a little bit on her bio, I guess she grew up and she had always had the inclination or really the desire to be an architect. And they say that she really kind of invented the world around her. So she really was very dreamlike. I don't know, as a child, she was just very much into creating her own world. And she always dreamed of being an architect, but actually ended up going to school to be somebody in marketing. So I guess she studied marketing while she was in college and kind of just like put her dreams and her ambitions of being an architect to the side. But luckily for her, working in marketing, that actually gave her the introduction to the House of Kenzo. And with Kenzo, she actually ended up meeting Pierre Rolf, and he was actually the resident perfumer at Kenzo at the time. And basically, after getting to know him, through working with him in marketing, she really took up an interest in perfumery, and he began to teach her perfume. And by the age of 28, she was not only working with this famed perfumer of Kenzo, but she was also working with other very established master perfumers such as Dominique Ropion. And the list really goes on and on. So the Sepia collection here, not to ramble too much about brand history, but started in 2011 after her kind of, time with Kenzo. She eventually broke off and decided to create her own brand. And in 2011, Olfactive Studio was born. And there were several fragrances that were introduced within that collection. And then if you fast forward later to the end of 2018, she introduces the Sepia collection. And the Sepia collection is six fragrances that are done by two brilliant master perfume artists. And that first artist that initially started the collection launched three fragrances, and those three fragrances are done by master perfumer Bertrand Duchefort. And the fragrances that he created for the house were Vanilla Shot, Chypre Shot, and Leather Shot. They were very well received by the fragrance community and the industry. and the brand was receiving high accolades for the brand's work in terms of the artistry and just really the whole brand concept. And then just recently, I think within the last year, they launched 3 more fragrances, and those 3 fragrances were done with master perfumer Dominique Ropion, who is incredible. He is the perfumer of Angel. He is the perfumer of Portrait of a Lady from Frederick Mall. So many icons, and whenever you see his name on a composition, you already know it's going to be top quality. It's going to be definitely something to be respected. And the 3 fragrances that he launched were Violet Shot, Rose Shot, and then Iris Shot. And the one that we're actually going to be talking about today is, again, Violet Shot. So Violet Shot, I love it. I have to say it's probably my favorite in the collection right now. I have several of them, but this is really the one that I'm digging. And I really like florals. So I think for me, that's really the reason as to why I first initially gravitate towards this scent. But the top notes here are Calabrian mandarin. We also have Madagascan pink pepper, and then fresh cut grass. It's lovely. It really is. I definitely get the brightness and the citrus facets from the Calabrian mandarin. You also get the very zesty, bright kind of hoppiness of pink peppercorn. And then there is something that is slightly green. And, don't let the fresh grass accord scare you away. I think sometimes people would see that and be like, don't know if I really want to smell like grass. But it's very understated here. It's not a strong grassiness. It just adds a subtle kind of greenery element to the fragrance. So yeah, opens with this really bright burst of Calabrian mandarin, very kind of sharp, bright hoppiness of pink peppercorn, and then you also have a little bit of that really beautiful kind of fresh green cut grass. The fragrance then eventually settles into safralene, and we also have violet leaf absolute. And safralene is a really interesting ingredient. I actually was researching this note because it's not one that comes up in perfumery a lot, and it's definitely not one that I had really heard of. And I got some great information from her2scents.com. And I guess this is a perfume blog, and they had some really useful information on the blog, so thank you. And when they talked about safralene, they basically said that it is a synthetic compound. It is a synthetic raw material that was invented by Givaudan, major manufacturer of perfumery notes and tasting products. And safralene is a compound that has very varying effects. So when applied into a fragrance, it usually exudes a leathery, almost tobacco-like feel. And depending on the intensity or the dosage of how much is actually placed into a fragrance, it can have varying scent profiles. So a very light dose of safralene actually gives a fragrance a very soft kind of undertone. That's just a very soft, spicy undertone. And then you have, safralene, when applied in a larger dose, really exhibits more of a smoky kind of leathery effect. So it can have varying intensities, and I would say here it's definitely more overstated. So I get a lot of the safralene here. I think that there is something here that smells very, very much like leather, which I like. It definitely gives the fragrance a really beautiful depth, and it's a really lovely contrast against the other heart note in this fragrance pyramid, which is the violet leaf absolute. So you kind of have this paradigm of both floral and kind of smoky leather. And then the fragrance eventually settles into the base notes. And the base notes that we see here are Indonesian patchouli, which adds a really beautiful earthiness. There's Spanish labdanum, and Spanish labdanum is somewhat musky. It's actually a brown resin. It comes from rock rose, which is, if you can envision what the plant looks like, it's almost like a small shrub. And labdanum just gives a very deep, rich, sensual, kind of warm, musky texture to the base of a fragrance. So yeah, we've got Indonesian patchouli, the Spanish labdanum, and then finally we also have just a little bit of Madagascan vanilla, and that just really softens and smooths out the entire fragrance. And I would say all in all, this is lovely. So another thing about the Sepia collection is all of the fragrances are straight level concentration, and they really wanted to create fragrances that were rich, had a very lovely efficacy, and definitely would last all day on the skin. And I will say that these do. Extracts are usually defined as being between 15 and 40% in perfume compound concentration. So the higher up the percentage goes, usually the more potent the ingredients, and definitely increases the wear time of a fragrance on the skin. And they say the range is about 15 to 40%, but most compounds on the market today sit around 20%. I can I can definitely tell that with this collection, it's pretty high because the fragrances are very rich. They're very textural. They definitely do last on the skin for a very, very long time. I believe that these retail for right around $300. And yeah, that is the Olfactive Studio Sepia collection. Sorry, I know this video was a little bit long and I kind of started rambling, but a lot to kind of learn about this brand new perfume house, and definitely a new one, and just lots of great information. Once again, I'm sorry that I haven't put up a video in such a long time, but fully intend on hopefully getting back into the groove of things and recording more videos. And I will see you guys in my new space soon. I'm moving this week, so my setup will look a little bit different moving forward. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you again soon.